there, ladies and gentlemen. George here, and I'm coming to you with another ASL video, Flamethrowers Masterclass. Yes, I did say, ladies and gentlemen, 8%, approximately 8% of the viewers here are ladies. Yes, 2 want to stone me, a couple want to own me, and quite a lot are friends of mine. Oh well. Anyway, if you want to find out how to better optimize and best use flamethrowers, stay tuned until the end. So with no further ado, I'm going to turn off my video capture, and perhaps we'll also do some examples, and this time you'll get to see them. There we go. On with the show. We're waiting for Duffy Duck to appear. There we go. On with the show. The counters. Now, these are your typical advanced squad leader counters. Yes, they are exact duplicate of what you see in Vassal. And you have the, let's see, let's get the highlighter here. The highlighter is a laser pointer. Here we go. You have the Russian flamethrower, and you'll note it looks similar in terms of factors and information compared to the US, the British, German, the Italian, and the Japanese. So up here you have the letter designation. FT stands for flamethrower. Contrary to what you think, the F does not stand for something else. No leader DRM is the universal triangle. So wherever you see on a counter a triangle, it's because it's telling you cannot apply the leadership DRM to that particular IFT result, infantry fire table result. They're all 1 per tash point. The breakdown of 10, and that reflects accurately, historically, the fact that flamethrowers didn't catch a lot of fuel. You had very little amount of fuel in order to create an impact on the battlefield, and then magically went away. That's the breakdown number. Then I'm going to repeat this a lot throughout this video. At 1 hex range, you have 24 firepower factors, and at a 2 hex range, it's 12. And there are certain things that can affect that firepower as well. And we'll discover that in this video. Now we're on to who can use a flamethrower. And the answer is only elite units. But do we all know what constitutes an elite unit? Here are an example of elite units and non-elite units, starting with heroes. Secondly, leaders. Then the crews, whether it's a 228 or a 127, these are elite units. And then, lastly, I have a multi-man counter, elite squad, that is designated but with the E symbol for elite. Does it also stand for engineer or an assault engineer? Not necessarily, but if you have any doubts as to whether your units are elite or not, what you need to do is look at the nationality chart, where it does list identifies what unit is considered elite for each specific nationality, and we have a lot of nationalities in Advanced Squad Leader. So non-elite units have to incur the captured use penalty in order to use a flamethrower. What I don't have pictured here is a conscript unit, in which case a conscript unit would have to incur the captured use penalty plus the inexperience penalty. Who can use a flamethrower and who can't, and what unit can best use it without incurring any penalties, will allow you to better optimize matching the support weapon with the proper unit to use. More on that soon, I hope. And here we go on to smoke on the water, fire in the sky. We are very lyrical today. Very important to note, smoke on the water, fire in the sky. that song probably will help you understand that the descending paratroops cannot use flamethrowers. And nor can pin units. Keeping in mind, heroes are elite and can't pin, but certain elite units like the 648 British elite unit that I pictured here can pin. Again, another factor that you need to consider in matching the support weapon with the proper unit that should use it. Right from the get-go, when you get the OB on the scenario card, you should be trying to match the support weapon to the proper unit. That's why I'm trying to hammer that point in. And here's a little diagram that you can use to optimize that particular choice. Heroes, they don't pin, they don't cower. Leaders don't cower, but can pin. Then, by either the rules, for example, first line elite units that are British, and by British I mean Canadian, New Zealanders, British, Australian, they all fall under the umbrella of British. Elite and first line squads don't cower, but they can certainly pin. And then most other multi-man counters, by multi-man counters I mean squad equivalents, can pin and cower. And that is important to note because by cowering, the flamethrower will, for example, if you have 24, it'll cower down to a 20. If you have 12 firepower factors, it will cower down to an 8. So you need to be careful with respect to that. Also, a flamethrower is a support weapon that is often used in the advancing fire phase because it's not have for advancing fire. And you end up getting a lot of bang for your buck when you're firing from an adjacent hex or an adjacent stone building to an adjacent stone building, for example. And you can still use it as long as you haven't pinned. So this is where the pin check that a lot of users kind of, or a lot of players kind of overlook or say, oh, all I got is a pin result. Well, if you get a pin result on a squad carrying a flamethrower, you just secured an insurance policy that that pin unit cannot fire the flamethrower, which is good. All right, range and restrictions. Again, we're repeating ourselves, but it's good. Repetition is good for memory. 1 hex at 24 firepower factors. That's usually your infantry flamethrower. And as we'll see, AFV flamethrowers are a bit different. 2 hexes at 12 firepower. Some AFVs with an underscore firepower factor for their flamethrower have a normal range of 2 hexes, meaning within a 2 hex range they can fire at full firepower, and at the third at half. Flamethrower firepower is never doubled for point blank fire or tripled point blank fire. Loss hindrances apply, but no TEM DRM. So you're firing adjacent from one building to the next. You have 24 firepower factors with no positive DRM on your roll. CX always applies. So if your unit is under counter exhaustion, you'll fire at either 24 or 12 up 1 plus nothing. Yep, all area fire applies except firing in the advancing fire phase. So the area fire does count against concealment counters, and then if you're firing against a concealment counter and you cower, that's a quarter of your firepower instead of your full firepower. All right. So let's visualize that for a moment, okay? So here we have a unit of 248 with a flamethrower, a half squad with a flamethrower. He is elite, and the red hexes is just to show you where the 24 firepower factors apply. The yellow is where the 12 firepower factors apply, provided there isn't a unit here with an elevation advantage, because then it's further, the firepower is further eroded, and we'll see that in the next example. But again, you have to think of the range as a circle because there is no covered arc with a infantry flamethrower. Got here. So we got a tank with a flamethrower, BF-24. The factor is not underlined, and it has a breakdown of 11. So in the adjacent hex, it'd be 24 firepower factors. At a 2 hex range, and here we do have a covered arc, so N3, N2 ground floor, O2 ground floor, we would be at 12, but up onto the second level would be 6. Or at least I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, units that have a greater than a second level elevation difference, either higher or lower, can't fire at each other with a flamethrower. Now here we have a Soviet tank with a 32 firepower factor. It's underscored. So look at its covered arc, which is here. This has a 2 hex range, so we can conceivably fire at full firepower 32 hexes at either Q8, Q9, or R7, R8, R9. But it can also fire at 16 firepower factors at a hex 3 hexes away. So if this tank got the ability or got the opportunity to fire at S8, it would have been at 16 firepower factors. If the unit was moving using first fire non-assault movement and first fire non-moving in the open, that would be an additional down 2 on the DRM. But don't forget, elevation counts as a location. All right. Do you feel vulnerable? Yes, you do. Because let's put it this way, nobody wants to get burnt. Nowhere. Whether you're at home, on the battlefield, anywhere. Avoid fire, right? That's what mom said. So, this firing at this stack here, so the Soviet Union, Soviet units, 447 with a 2.6 leader directed, firing at that stack. Let's say this stack is dashing from T7, 3T7 to R6. This is an open ground hex using the road to dash across. They would be firing at area target type. So 6 would go down to a 2 firepower attack. They would get -1 for first fire non-assault movement, would be a 2 attack, -1 for first fire moving in the open on all the units, and then the unit carrying possessing the flamethrower would get another -1 due to Alpha 22.4, which essentially attributes another -1 DRM to reflect that that unit is a primary target for opposing units that want to eradicate the threat of flame. I might go through this example on the board. Now, how do you resolve a flamethrower attack, and are there any terrain effects? And the answer is yes, there are. Now, most units, most players, not units. Let me show you. Allow me to show you. Bear with me for a moment. Let's turn this off. And go to the board. maybe we can't go to the board. Let's see. Okay, and let's get the board here. Here we are. There's the board, and let's get the other thingy. There we go. So, where's our charts? Here are our charts. And let's go to the IFT. Now, what you see here on the IFT, this might also seem what you may see um, on on your rat charts. Looks something like this. But if you look at the back of your uh, paperback rulebook or the actual charts or the PDF, you'll see terrain effect modifiers which nobody can distinguish. There's little dots here and there. Now, what I did, go back to our PowerPoint. So what I did here is do that. Okay. What I did here is I put little red bars to reflect rule Bravo 26.12, for example. Original flamethrower DR, capital D, capital R, causes possible flame creation if a K or KIA results. I think that would be on the original. That's why there isn't a bar on the one row. There's only a bar on the two row, because with physical dice you cannot roll a 1d6. The lowest you can roll with the 2d6 is 2. Then you do another dice roll plus the uh, environmental conditions. If that is greater than or equal to the kindling number, then you put a flame in the terrain affected by the attack. And by looking at this table, or the one that you have in the original squad leader tables, then you can discern right away whether, hey, is something burning here or not. I hope that is clear to everyone, because well, let's put it this way. Smoke does have an effect on your game. Smoke hindrances and wrecks and all that jazz. Let's go to the last slide. And the last slide is trying to show you how to do an attack on a flamethrower. Now, with a flamethrower, I imagine you still have to do a 2-hit dice roll. I don't believe you can get a critical hit with a flamethrower. Actually, I'm going to have to look that up. Now, the only thing that isn't subject to, that is not eligible for a critical hit based on Charlie 3.7 are MGs. Anyway, we'll try and do a real life example here. So, roll on the 2-hit table, then you got a chart on the HE chart. Just going to actually look at it here because I have it right on my side. It's C7.34 HE and Flame to Kill table. So as you can see, armor factors don't apply in the 2 kill number. They're increased by 1 if so. Rolling 8 or less, it's better than an average roll of 7. However, the 2 kill number is increased by 1 if the armored fighting vehicle is crew exposed. If it's open top, then a +2 applies. And if they're both open top and crew exposed, you increase it by 3, so 8, 9, 10, 11. And vulnerable PRC are subject to a specific collateral attack as per D.8. So basically, you would most likely, if that T-34 had riders, you first roll to see the effects of on the tank, and then with the same dice roll, you would look at the 12 table if there are 2-hex range, and determine the attack there. Keep in mind that in this case, the actual to kill number would be a 4 because they're firing at a 2-hex range. So if you look at the footnote here, is just footnote 2 is just a recap of what we did here. Let's go to the board and do a couple of examples. Let's turn off PowerPoint. Let's turn on our video capture. Let's go to the board and put on our that thing there. Let's go here. So the first example was actually, let's put these guys here. Keep these on the side. This guy didn't come into the picture yet. All right, they're dashing across the road. So take off all the moves. Let's declare a dash. This dude doesn't exist yet. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're declaring a dash. We go into the road. We give the opportunity for our opponent to fire. Do you want to fire? You could say yes. He can use all his firepower, or just the support weapon, or just the inherent firepower. He decides to take it all 6, but it is a dash, so it's halved. So it would be still a 2 down 2 and a 2 down 3 on that unit. So IFT, we got right on the LMG, but we can't use it again because we only expended 1 movement factor there. So 6 down 3, no, that's a 7. 7 down 3 is a 4 on the 2, which is a 1 check. And then 7 down 2 is a 5 on the 2, which is a normal. So the leader has a normal. Let's do that. Morale check. He passes with flying colors. That is now a 9 for the 468. Passes with flying colors, but we need an 8 for the. Do we need an 8 for the? Yeah, we need an 8 because a 3 is actually a 1MC, or a 4 is a 1MC. So an 8 or less for the half squad. I'll pass with flying colors. And there. And now he has to end his movement there because we decided it was a dash. Now, if it wasn't a dash, that would have been a 6 down 3, and we would have rolled a 4 on the 6, which would have been a morale check. And in this case, without having to redo our morale checks over again, we rolled a 7, 7, 4. Yeah, there would have been a 1 morale check on the units not carrying the flamethrower, and a 2 morale check on the flamethrower. And we roll a 6. That would have pinned. That would have pinned these results. If I didn't declare a dash, would have pinned this unit in the middle of the road, and this guy would have gotten right, and he would be able to fire at him again after the movement phase was over at a 2 flat. Yep. All right. The other example was, let's move these guys here. Let's move this unit here. Let's say this fellow assault moved to there. You didn't see the underscore. That is a 16 down 1. Why? With an underscore, it means my first 2 hexes in my covered arc are at full firepower, and 3 at long range, which is halved. 16 down 1. Let's see what that would give me. 5 of the 16. They all assault moved in there together. Wow. 5 on the 16 is a 3 morale check. So let's do the 3 morale check. Leader first. He breaks. And second squad, he breaks. And five, down one, and down two for the half squad that's carrying the flamethrower. Because there's an additional -1. So 4 on the 16, the K3, that dude is fried. Okay. Unbreak this guy. And unbreak this guy. I believe that in this case, still getting used to in this case here, with the AFE, being at a 2 hex range, I would still have to roll on the 2 hit table. Let's say 10 vehicular target type. -1 for my leader. Let's say he moved in there, +2 for motion. -1 for range. So it's a 8 to hit. So the base would be a 4, not applying leader any, not applying any, because he's at a 2 hex range. If he was 1, it would be 8. Not applying any armor factors. However, if it was too exposed, now it would be a a um, a 5 to kill, 4 plus 1, and leadership PRM does not apply. Right. So let's roll on to kill. Ooh, a lot. However, that would be a collateral attack on the 12 table for the crew, I imagine. So a 12 attack, no armor factor, but no tem. So a 7 on the crew, a 7 on the 12 chart would be a 1 morale check. It would be stunned, small stun. My stuns. There they are. If they rolled a 12, there would have been a big stun. Whew. Here's the other example that we picked here. That would be a 6 flat. And keep a note that there is a breakdown of 11. Still a 1 morale check. Now, six, 5. Yep, that would be a 1 check. So beat off first. Passed. So a normal for the squad. Passed. Oh. Unfortunately, I didn't get any flames. It is what it is. Gentlemen, a nice nifty 30-minute all you can eat video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. And yeah, if there are any corrections, let me know. Nobody's playing a perfect game of ASL anywhere around the world, but we're all having fun. I hope the Blue Jays will start having fun soon. All right, guys, that's it for today. Take care and be well.